Today we're talking about the new Steve tech. So if you haven't seen, there is a new tech for Steve with hitstun canceling that is frame 1. You can either put a situation where it is likely or do it out of hitstun, and it is a problem. I want to bring you through a couple of examples, try it myself to see how easy it is, and then give my opinion on it, because right now, you saw from the shirt, not banning Steve necessarily, but I think the tech needs to be banned, or Steve needs to be banned, because this shit's broken. And this isn't even alarmist. This isn't even, oh, you're making it out to be a bigger deal than it is. Like, no, I waited a day, and the amount of examples I have seen from this, I pulled up several, not all of them that I've seen, but a lot. It's a problem. It's a really, really big problem. But if you haven't seen it, hey, let's just get into it. So a long time ago, there was a tech called PMLG found, which is a hit stun canceling thing. And basically, if you get hit and then you do a couple of inputs, which is like block, jump, and then whatever you want to do, you get you hit stun cancel. You can hit stun cancel spikes, you can hit stun cancel any move, as long as you prep something beforehand, which is going to be a phantom block, which is when you just put a block down and you don't do anything about it. It's how Steve can do phantom block reverse PBR. It's because you don't put a block down and then you turn around. Big thing for Steve. So let's watch it. To explain it a little bit, Steve prepped here after this up air. He clicked block, but the block did not come out. Then the Yoshi hits a button, then you hit block basically after you start falling, and then you do an input and it can cancel your momentum. So again, it is very important to note this last bit. The hit stun is only cancelable if the move does not put you into tumble. However, that's a lot of moves. Like, the forward air puts him into tumble, so I don't know why they're saying it's not also tumble. I'm confused. Maybe this one's just different. So aerial and block during end lag, because you're setting up your phantom block. Then you get hit by a move that doesn't put you into tumble. You hit block, and then you start hitting a button and then do Steve stuff. Because this is just guaranteed Steve stuff, right? It can also be done for minecart, and anvil is a big one. And just so you're aware, most moves at low percent don't put you into tumble. So this is a lot of moves at low percent, like a ton of moves. And if both opponents are at low percent, Steve generally is winning because he has ridiculous combos with either up tilts or fair, chains or nil stuff. Like, he's crazy on hit. When both opponents are at low percent, Steve is winning, and now he's super winning. Let's continue. Again, look at these combos. Of course, Steve can get at high percent. Sorry, low percent, not high percent. And it's basically just a way to, it's essentially an aerial crouch cancel. And there's just a bunch of examples of it, right? It can be multi-hit moves, it can be single-hit moves, as long as, the multi-hit move has more than 3 frames of a gap, or if your armor just starts early enough on a multi-hit. I'm pretty sure, when does armor start on minecart? I can't tell when super armors, but I'm pretty sure it's early. It doesn't say it on ultimate frame data. And so even in the starting video, it explains that there are 3 ways to set up the PMLG, which is the technique. Placing a block without landing on it, placing a phantom block, or doing a fail block animation for like trying to do stuff outside of the borders. That's something I actually haven't seen people talk about very much, because the fact that you can just be outside of your block range and then just be holding B and then do the technique if someone tries to like hit you off stage with a multi-hit, like a Pikachu forward air, for example, and then you kill them for it? That's kind of silly. But hey, we have more examples. I quote tweeted this the other day because I thought that you had to essentially only have a setup for it, in terms of just like you have to do a sword bear or something and you couldn't use a block, as opposed to just mashing it out at hit stun, which again, typically up throw up air isn't 100% true on a lot of characters, but the fact that you can air dodge out of a multi-hit is ridiculous. This is screaming shulk, this is screaming a bunch of other stuff, but we'll get into comparisons in a little bit. There was also someone playing against a Steve that literally did the technique. This was, today, I'm pretty sure I was recording this. Yeah, this was earlier today, and the technique got discovered the day before this, or 2 days before that. So the fact that some random person can just be mashing B and get this out, this is Elite Smash. This isn't even like they're playing a top player that's implementing this technique. Ridiculous. But again, I personally don't know how hard it is to do. I'm going to be doing it in the second part of this video. And this is another perfect example of, again, low percent minecart, right? Let's say Steve is either winning and just died, but the opponent's at high percent, or they're losing, just came back from a fresh stock, and they have some iron, and especially a gold. And someone tries to knock them out of minecart, which is the thing you're supposed to do against Steve. You're supposed to knock Steve out of minecart, and then they kill you for it, for hitting them. Which again, most moves don't send you into tumble at 0, or even 9, so kind of crazy. Here's another one. This is a bunch of them, right? This is like, oh, Steve tried to do something, like Steve did something and you try to hit him out of shield. And they buffered this tech because, again, the problem is you can buffer it. And I want to get into a couple of specifics of that later, but you can kind of guess if someone's going to do this, right? And the risk reward for the Steve here is ridiculous because if the opponent holds shield, they can get shield broken by a down air or shield poke with the down air or just, you know, get landed on with bear, which is safe into more pressure. And then if you hit the Steve, you also die. So this kind of messes up the risk reward hella in favor of Steve, and again, Steve was already the best character in the game. So this is ridiculous. Also, this one bothers me too. You can just avoid multi-hits. Again, the multi-hits have to be frame 3 or slower if you don't have a powered up minecart, I'm pretty sure, or if you can't avoid it with like a jump downer or something. But also, he says that Sturv turns the game into Brawl where multi-hits don't work. Multi-hits worked okay in Brawl, but the reason they didn't work was because of SDI being really powerful, not people being able to randomly fall out of them and air dodge. That was never the problem. It was just SDI. This is not SDI, this is broken. Because then you also have SDI, and you also have your normal combo breaks, and you also have to respect normal minecart, and normal jump down air, and normal all of the other things that you have to worry about with Steve, and now you also have to worry about being right and hitting him. Not a fan. So, really quickly, I want to talk about my current opinion of this. I think, contrary to what I put here, I don't necessarily think Steve has to be banned, but I absolutely think this technique needs to be banned. It is game-breaking on the best character, and clearly, I don't think this was intentional. Not that intentionality matters, but it's another layer of, wow, Steve is really stupid, and there are a bunch of other reasons as already, especially, that people wanted Steve banned. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below, because I think this should be banned. I think if for some reason people don't want to ban this, they need to ban the character. Like, it's unfair. Like, it's actually unfair. I'm not a fan of the fact that this technique is discovered suddenly on this character, and it's really applicable. The thing is, if it was super niche and super difficult to do, sure, maybe not. But this affects every multi-hit in the game, most moves at 0% in the game, most combo starters in the game at low percents, or even sometimes at mid percents. So it's ridiculous. And the thing is, you might be like, hey, but there are plenty of other characters that have frame 1 combo escapes, right? Like Luigi and Bayonetta and Mithra and Ryu and Swap and Grenade. Like, there's a lot of frame 1 escapes. Why is this so different for Steve? Well, the thing is, block isn't committal. If you're wrong and someone just tries to bait this technique out, there's nothing harming you. There's no negative to doing this besides you're still above your opponent probably, but that's about it. However, if you're playing a different character like Duck Hunt or Luigi or Mithra or even Bayonetta, you can get punished for doing the frame 1 swap. People wait out swaps against Pokemon Trainer. They wait out air dodges against Bayonetta and Mithra because you expect them to mash it. They avoid focus, or they specifically use multi-hits in advantage against Ryu and Ken. Right? There is a bunch of counterplay to dealing with the frame 1 options. You can hit Snake in specific spots. You can, bait out Luigi down B, and these are all really laggy or committal options for the most part, and Steve's block is absolutely not one of these. It's not. It's simply just, it's not committal. I think I had a comparison that someone brought up on my Twitter. Let me go find it. As a side note, there's just multiple different ways you can do it. You can do it at a ledge jump because you can't make block after you do a ledge option for a little bit, or like, if the spacing. So you get out of ledge trapping, you get out of disadvantage, you get out of basically everything, assuming the move doesn't put you into tumble, which again is a lot of moves, especially at lower percent, but even again, some at higher percent. So Bats Within has minimum 45 total frames. Foresight has minimum 44 total frames. Place Block has 15 frames. And again, we're talking about air dodges, right? Let's go look at Bayonetta's air dodges. So neutral air dodge for Mithra is 44 total frames. For Bayonetta, neutral air dodge is 45 total frames. Obviously, if they get the Bats Within, they can get a reward, but honestly, a lot of times you're not actually going to get hit for getting Foresighted or Bats Within. Like, most of the time, it's totally just a reset to neutral and you drop your combo, which sucks, don't get me wrong, but there's a difference between that and potentially dying for getting down-aired or mine-carded or back-aired or something like that. Sorry. And here's another example with Luigi, where the move is 85 total frames, and yeah, you can like move off of platforms and be annoying, and sometimes it's hard to punish, but that doesn't mean it's not punishable. Whereas again, if you block and you're wrong, you block, notice that they didn't hit you, and then jump. That's all you have to do. And again, the fact that we haven't seen it done accidentally proves that it's at least difficult or technical enough that people, like, you're not gonna be like, oh my god, I did it by accident. I was just mashing 4 very specific inputs at a very specific timing. How was I supposed to know? Like, we haven't seen this in 2 years of Steve being out. So obviously, like in high level tournament. So obviously, it's going to be a very specific thing that you have to do, not going to happen by accident, so you don't have to worry about, oh man, but what if accidentally this happens, right? I think the closest comparison that you can make is in Brawl, King Dedede's small step chain grab, where basically in Brawl you could chain grab about 5 or 6 characters with King Dedede without moving. It was a standing chain grab, but basically King Dedede could do this chain grab just standing. You could just buffer a grab over and over again, and the opponents didn't get far enough away. This was on like Donkey Kong, Bowser, Mario, Luigi, and the mirror match, which made mirror matches with this not banned awful. They did ban it for a while. I think there were like bans, sometimes on this technique, but basically the way to circumvent this was if people were to do small step chain grabs, which is basically you grabbed, walked a little bit, and then grabbed again. This actually did have a famous instance of Cheese versus, it was either Cheese versus DK Will or Mike Hayes versus DK Will, where basically they ended up ruling that Cheese was walking a little bit in the chain grabs, so it wasn't a standing chain grab, therefore he didn't violate the rules. But this is at least ambiguous, right? Because 1 or 2 frames of walking is really hard to see, and also in Brawl, if your replay was more than 3 minutes, you couldn't save it. So that was a problem, right? But in this instance, with Steve, it's very easy to tell if this happens, if you are, notable, or if you know what's going on. It's very hard to accidentally do this. You're really able to influence a ban. So currently, my opinion is this technique should be banned. And if for some reason people don't want to ban this technique, I think the character should be banned. But before I really keep it solid in stone, let's try it out. Editing ESAM here. Hi, I was wrong about this. This is still a little bit difficult to figure out if things are apparent in terms of doing the Steve tech. So I am moving my opinion more to either you gotta keep the tech and keep Steve, or ban Steve, because banning the tech is a pain in the ass, and also if TOs don't want to deal with it, that's perfectly understandable, and also it can be bad for lower level players. And also, where's the line? I've been having arguments on Twitter with Gimmer and Last and stuff, and it's like, where's the line? Like, Akala's already winning everything in Japan, Onan is already a top 5 player in the US, so do they both have to win everything? Does Akala have to beat Leo? How many times in a set is too much if you keep the tech? Like, is 3 times doing the tech not enough to ban it? Like, where's the line? So that's my new opinion, but let's go with the rest of the video, I guess. There we go. Lol. Like, and again, so I'm messing it up a lot here, obviously, but the thing is, if you're wrong, you literally have seen me do, like, block forward smash, or minecart, or down air, or TNT, which is basically not an issue because you can cancel the beginning of your block animation with aerials anyway. Like, the fact that you can just do that, and again, like, if the Mario's moving forward to, like, try to continue comboing you, you just get down, you get down air. And the thing is, if you're wrong, you just get your mash option anyway, or you block, land on the block, and jump away. It is entirely different from a Bayonetta doing the same thing, and then you just don't do the second up air, and then you get a grab, or you get a forward smash, or you get a whatever punish you want. This is so much different. Yes, did it take me 10 minutes to learn it? Sure. Fine, whatever, but also 10 minutes is not worth an entire thing exploding every single time. Like the risk reward just gets so messed up. I don't know, man. I don't even have gold right now. Let me like, I canceled the hitstun with something there. I don't know, I didn't do anything, but I canceled it. Like, that's ridiculous. That's so silly. And I just learned how to do this. What are you doing, Mario? Like, oh, sorry, Mario, you just die. And again, the thing is, if they're wrong, let's mess it up, right? Let's go behind Mario. Like, that's your negative, is you put a block down. Or if they don't swing, you put a block down, and then you get your resources back because you landed on the ground, which is a block, and then even if your opponent does bait that out, then you have your double jump back, and you're still playing Steve in disadvantage. Like, this technique absolutely needs to be banned. Like, 100%. And if you, for some reason, don't think this technique should be banned, I really think that means you should ban Steve. Like, it's really that simple. Like, again, I've always been, don't ban Steve, don't ban Steve. This, to me, pushes it over the edge because it just... Like, Steve already had a crazy risk reward, and now this is an on-hit crazy risk reward. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know. The only, like, counterplay to this that I can see that's, like, active is, like, using moves that intentionally have different hit lags, so that way if they're wrong, they don't get the technique, but then you get a worse combo. So Steve is basically making you do bad combos because you can just do the timing of the best combo, and then you have to do a bad combo, which resets neutral, and then Steve gets to play neutral again. Like, that's the only negative I can see, because you have to, like, be aware of the timing of the hit lag, because I don't think this is, like, super long of a range. Yeah, you can literally just cancel it with nothing. Like, so you can also just back away if you want to. Like, for free. Like, I'm just gonna do it into, like, fastball and, like, drift away. Because that was normal hit stun. Like, you just get to go away for free. It doesn't even have to be a reversal. You just get your stage positioning back, and then you start mining and doing bullshit. Like, dude, it's broken. Like, and the fact that you can just turn around with it, with the just turnaround B, because that's how, like, normal PBR and TBC work, is so silly. Oh my god, no, it doesn't matter. You can literally do it so late. Okay, no, it's not super long, but there's, like, a good variety. Like, I don't know. And again, the fact that you can just do it if you're expecting to get hit in a bad situation, like you're getting ledge trapped, and you can just be like, block, and then just guess, and your opponent has to respect that, and then maybe go for a grab. But also, by the way, if you didn't go for the technique and you actually just, you know, minecarded, then they're gonna be standing there and get minecarded. This, like, it just fucks the risk reward. Like, in every situation where Steve gets hit. Again, if your character only has moves that put you into tumble, sure, it's not gonna be as relevant. But it's stupid that it's relevant at all, in my opinion. This absolutely needs to be banned. Very easy to be banned. Honestly, not as hard of a technique as I expected, because also, you can just mash it anyway, and if you don't get it, oh no, you get comboed the way you were supposed to, right? And then, worst case, you get it sometimes. And sometimes is more than enough times, in period. Like, if you get out of like 2 combos in a game, especially against top players, that's like, suddenly they're just gonna zero to death you, right? With like Steve, like, jab fair into down smash, blah, 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 edge guard. Like, you don't need that many times to, like, get out of a combo you were supposed to get hit by, and the fact that it's not even your opponent messing up, and that it's the Steve just getting out of it is so dumb. Like, I don't know. This shit's broken. That's my opinion. It wasn't, like, it's harder than I expected to do. Again, it's basically impossible to do on, by accident, in my opinion, unless for some reason you're just mashing block at a disadvantage, but that's a weird thing to do if you're not trying to do this. And you just get to, like, you just get to hit buttons. You just get to do it for free anyway. I don't know, man. I did it by accident on the first one.